Where did God come from?
Wow. Well, I was asked that question in a debate. I've done 141 debates with atheists, and I was at Embry-Riddle University, south of Daytona Beach, Florida, Daytona Beach, and a kind of cocky atheist said, I got a question, where did God come from? Basically, it's a flawed question. Suppose I said, why are elephants orange? They're not orange. I can't answer that question. Why they're orange? Because they're not. Okay. So the question, where did God come from, has some built-in assumptions. The word come and from indicate, distance and time. You have to come someplace, takes time. God is not limited by time, space, or matter. We are. We as human beings are locked into time, space, and matter. This is 2018, and there's nothing you can do about it. Have you ever wished you could go back just 3 seconds and undo the dumb thing you just did? You ever wished you could go, okay, probably all of us have. We are stuck in time. This is not 2018. God has already been to your funeral. To him, all of time is the same. I produced a series of videos called, Whoa, What on Earth is About to Happen, where I delve into this in great detail with pictures of going down Grand Canyon and all this. But we are stuck in time, space, and matter. God is not. God created all three of those, time, space, matter, what we call a continuum. You have to have time first, in the beginning. If God made matter before there was time, when would you put it? If he made matter before space, where would you put it? You have to have time come into existence first, and then space, and then matter. And the Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth. So he made time, space, matter. By the way, each of those is also a trinity. Time has 3 parts, past, present, future. You can't have one by itself. Space has 3 parts, space, length, width, height. A friend of mine in Mississippi asked me, he said, Kent, would you like to go to dinner? I want to show you Mr. Flat. I said, oh, okay, sure. So we're sitting at McDonald's and eating supper. He said, suppose I would like to reveal myself to Mr. Flat and Mrs. Flat, but they live in Flatland. They are 2-dimensional people. All they know is width and length. They have no height at all, 0. I said, okay. So here we have, he took 3x5 cards out and he wrote Mr. Flat and Mrs. Flat. He said, I, as a 3D person, would like to reveal myself to these 2-dimensional people. So I stick my finger through the table over here. Mr. Flat comes over and he sees a circle, the cross-section of my finger. I stick 3 fingers through the table over here. Mrs. Flat comes over and she sees 3 circles. And so Mr. Flat says, honey, I have seen Kent Hovind. He's a circle. She says, oh, no, honey, I've seen him. He's 3 circles. And they'll argue for a while and start the church of the split up and start the church of the 1 circles and the church of the 3 circles. Neither one has a clue who I am. I cannot put a 3-dimensional being into 2-dimensional space. We are stuck in 3-dimensional space, length, width, height. God is not. There's no time there. There's no space there. There's no... He is outside of those. The guy who made this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around changing the pixels on the screen. He's outside of the computer. This is his creation. God created us, created time, space, matter, and we are stuck in it. And we think this is the same time in heaven, when God's already seen the beginning and the end all at the same time. Ephesians chapter 3 has got a great verse. It says that we may, Ephesians 3:18, that we may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the length and depth and breadth and height. Why does it have 4 dimensions? Yeah. And to understand the love of Christ, which passeth knowledge. So I think we need to, first of all, when you ask where did God come from, realize that this is like two computers arguing with each other. Where did man come from? When the man created them, they're never going to figure it out. I think when we get to heaven and realize God is outside of all this, time, space, matter means nothing. First thing you do when you get to heaven, take your watch off, fling it over the side. There's no time. I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
I've been late for many things and I wished I wasn't. So that brings up other questions like, what was it like before the creation? People say, what did God do before the creation? I say, you're stuck in the same mindset that God is waiting around for Adam and Eve to come on the scene. There was no time. We go from eternity. He creates time. We have a timeline, and I like making timelines and visuals and all that. But all of this, see, I can stand outside of this timeline. I can see Adam, I can see Noah, I can see Joseph. None of them knew each other. How come I can see all three at the same time? Because I'm not stuck in the line. God right now can see yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He's not stuck in time. So the question is called an invalid question. Where did God come from? He's just always been. He's tried to reveal himself to us, like he said to Moses. Moses said, well, who am I going to tell him that sent me? He said, you tell him I am. What an answer. I've been wrestling with that for 49 years, brother. Do you have an answer to that? I am.
Yeah.
Outside of my brain.
And his name, Yehovah, literally means, and he defines it. I always was, I am now, and I will always be. That, he reveals himself through his word. He's chosen words to reveal himself. And that's why, we have so many figures of speech in the Bible. It's like, how can he reveal himself to us, to Mr. Flat and Mrs. Flat?
Right.
How can he do it? Well, he does his best. And we have to do our best to meet him on the ground that he chose to reveal himself, which is his word.
Well, one quick thought. I know we got to go, but how would you explain colors to a blind man? Where would you start?
I wouldn't.
You can't.
Wouldn't
you can't
have any idea.
How do you explain sounds to a deaf person? We've got 5 entrances into our brain, the 5 senses. There are different ways into this computer, through the keyboard, through the mouse, etc. There's only 5 ways into our brain. God is outside of all of that. Explaining God to an earthling is like explaining colors to a blind man.
Right.
We just can't get it.
Well, as it says, no one knows the Father but the Son, and to whom the Son will reveal him. Yeah. And that is the word, that's the Gospels, and that's what I think is the most succinct way to put the Gospels, is that if you want to know God, it has to be revealed by the Son.
And you look at the Son.
Because he makes himself, makes the Father known.
That's his attempt to reveal himself to us. Yeah.